Jonathan Haidt wrote a book called The Happiness Hypothesis, and he described a metaphor to help explain the way our brains work. To Jonathan Haidt, there is the rider and the elephant. The rider sits on top of the elephant. The rider does all the thinking, but the elephant decides where they're going to go. In Jonathan Haidt's metaphor, the rider's job is to rationalize or explain away the actions of the elephant. And generally, we think of it the other way around. We think we have these thoughts with our rider and that the rider tells the elephant where to go. Haidt says that's not what happens. And Daniel Kahneman agrees with him. In Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow, he describes these two modes of the rider and the elephant in less metaphorical, less dramatic terms. Let's say 80%. I'm making up a number, but most of our thinking happens fast. It's the result of processes in our brain that we're not even conscious of. We respond to stimuli in our environment, and we have automatic thoughts that lead to automatic feelings that lead to automatic behaviors. When we want to override all that automated thinking fast, this is what Kahneman calls thinking slow. We're more deliberative, we're more analytical, and we can make different decisions or exhibit different behaviors. Most of our behavior is automatic. Thinking slow is exhausting. And we run out of energy when we have to behave in ways that think slow. So think about that. We are 80% moist robots, programmed by our experiences, by the physiology of our brain, to behave in automatic ways. When it comes to free will and the age-old debate going back to the Enlightenment, it would be very depressing for self-help literature to think that we don't have any free will. But at best, our free will is only in the thinking slow parts. It takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot more time, and that means most of what we think are decisions are really just automatic responses. We are not in control of our thoughts and our feelings to the extent that our Enlightenment mythologies claim that we are. Joseph Henrich wrote another book. It's called The Secret of Our Success. And he says, how is it that the Homo sapiens are so successful? Is it because we're so smart and we're so good at this slow thinking? He goes, not at all. Most of what we know is a result of culture, the kinds of things that we've learned from our grandmothers. They're the automatic responses that we absorbed as children. This is what keeps us alive in the modern age. Only about 20% comes from this analytical, academic form of learning. All the rest is by following what Henrich calls prestigious models, imitating what the celebrities do, imitating what our friends, our peers, or our leaders do. We are wonderful imitation machines, our brains shaped by the things that we observe and the experiences that we have. That could leave us with a serious handicap. In Dr. Daniel Amen's book, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, he talks about how trauma in the brain can result in over or underactive portions that lead us to automatic, impulsive, obsessive, or compulsive behaviors that we'd rather not choose. If we could choose for ourselves, these were not the behavior. They're dysfunctional because they're a result of injury or trauma, not a result of thinking about what we want. It is that discrepancy, again, between our wantings, the rider, and our feelings that really control our actions, the elephant. We can use the 20% of thinking slow to form new habits, to retrain the elephant, to remake our brains. But if the basic physiology of the brain is not intact, we're going to be facing an uphill climb. So what happens when we get into the ice bath? We immerse ourselves in this environment in which we are programmed to experience stress, to experience the automatic fight or flight series of emotions. this is where we tap into and strengthen that 20% of conscious choice. What is the story that we tell ourselves? Our writer might rationalize the elephant's actions after the fact, or intercede in this moment inside the forge and tell the elephant, this is what cold feels like. That's Viktor Frankl's wedge, the space between stimulus and response in which we get to choose.